UFC President Dana White joins us now here on SportsCenter. Dana, you've got a couple of cards over the next several weeks, some international locations and one also back here in the States. As it relates to that card in Brazil, what's the status?
Yeah, so yesterday the governor of Brazil issued a decree limiting the size of public events. So we are going to do the event live from Brasilia on ESPN and ESPN Plus tomorrow, Saturday, and we're going ahead with it. You can't have over 100 people there, so we will just have the staff that's running the event inside the arena that night.
So then you have another event the next week with Ty Woodley and Leon Edwards. That's scheduled for London. What are you hearing from health officials in the UK as it relates to what you're hearing so far in Brazil?
Well, that event's going to proceed as planned. We're working closely with the government if there's any changes over there, but as of right now, that event is moving forward.
And then you are back here in the States, Columbus, Ohio, on March 28th. You got a huge heavyweight card there. And again, we've seen all these sports leagues in America cancel their events, let alone postpone them. What are you going to do in Columbus?
Yeah, so Columbus, the governor today issued a ban on public events over 100 people in a single room. So we're actually going to move that event to the Apex, our arena here in Las Vegas that we own on our campus here in Las Vegas. And we are, we're working directly with the Nevada State Athletic Commission and Executive Director Bob Bennett on implementing a process to screen athletes before they compete. So one of the things that we always do, we're always looking out for the health and safety of our fans, our athletes, whatever it might be.
So would ultimately MMA just be conducted similar to how they're about to hold and host the NCAA Division I Wrestling Championships, which is you bring in all the athletes and you keep all the spectators out. You bring in a referee and a whistle and you let this thing go. I don't see any reason why not. I really don't see any reason why not. I will tell you right now, that is exactly what we will do with Submission Underground. 100%. Those matches are going to take place. The divisions are going to continue and move forward. Let's say that happened in New York, which would mean Tony and Khabib. ESPN's covering it. A lot of people are going to miss out on a good trip, but they will get to see the action. Does the UFC still hold that fight? According to Dana, yes, the event will go on. Okay, I believe that. Now, does the UFC still hold that event at the Barclays Center? Would there be any reason to have a $100,000 building on a 24-hour lease to come in and do a build-out just to set the cameras up and hold the event? Or do you just move the show to the Apex? And if you got to move the show to the Apex, I just pointed out Tony versus Khabib for fun because I know that's a big pay-per-view, big fight that you guys are looking forward to, but why would it in there? I mean, how long is this ban going to be a thing? How long are we all going to be dealing with it? I don't think any of us have that answer. But if you do subscribe to the idea that the show is going to go on, it would make things really easy to just have a different venue, which already happens to be built in the backyard, which happens to be called the Apex. And then you start bringing in and having the content. In many ways, it could absolutely change the business model of mixed martial arts. I think that you fans would be stunned if you realized how little a promoter counts on a live gate. It would be very interesting though, right? You take a company like the UFC that does international business, has roughly a $10 million setup cost, brings in a gate that doesn't even quite cover the setup cost. I mean, it would just be very interesting to see if we get to this place, bringing in pay-per-view level quality fights. I'm proposing for you, if this experiment goes through, if some pay-per-views get pulled because of this crowd issue, and those matches take place in front of the lights and the camera at the Apex, and ESPN is still there to distribute, you could literally, if you had success in that, and again, it's an experiment, but if you had success, you could literally open everybody in leadership's eyes to something, realize there's some fat on the bone that travel around the world may not be totally necessary. There is many ways this plays out that would revolutionize the sport.
The only one who continues to talk about the Conor McGregor versus Khabib fight, or at least the one who is talking about it the most, is UFC President Dana White. He's the one who said that if Conor beat Donald Cerrone, next for Conor would be Khabib. And everyone was like, whoa, wait a second. You're going to get a title shot after beating Cerrone at 170? And oh, by the way, what about Tony Ferguson? And people keep reminding him of this and reminding him of this. I think the entire MMA community cannot wait for April 18th, right? Everyone wants to see that fight. They booked it 4 times before. This would be the 5th time. I think none of us want to talk about what could happen if the fight gets delayed one more time or postponed or canceled because of the threat of the coronavirus or injury or some kind of crazy set of circumstances, because crazy things have happened when these two guys are booked, right? Tony tripping over the wire last time at Fox. Because I have been saying since Conor McGregor's first press conference that he had in Russia back in November, where he kind of came out and said, I'm going to have this season, I'm going to fight 3 times in 2020. Everyone got all crazy about him coming back. I said back then, Conor's second fight will not be against Khabib Nurmagomedov. If you just look at the schedule, if you just read the tea leaves, it doesn't make any sense to say this. And that's why it was driving me nuts back in January when everyone was like, I can't believe he's going to get a title shot after beating Cerrone. Just look at the facts. The facts are he fought in January. The next fact was Khabib and Ferguson were scheduled to fight on April 18th. We then know that Khabib is taking some time off for Ramadan. We also know that Conor wants to remain active. He doesn't want to wait till September when Khabib is ready to come back. Why is everyone getting so crazy about this? It's absolute craziness that we are getting worked up about something that is not going to happen. Now, if Ferguson gets injured, we talk about something else. But the actual facts state that there is no chance in hell that Conor's second fight, if everything goes to plan, in 2020 is going to be against Khabib. So why do we keep talking about this?
Lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov, the Tony Ferguson fight April 18th in Brooklyn. We can't wait. Would you agree with this statement? A lot of critics are saying, if there's one man who could hand you a loss, it might be that man, Tony Ferguson. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying he has the greatest chance of any lightweight out there.
Yeah. I think so, because if you watch on his list how many fighters he beat, you know, he's real deal. He's real deal, you know. That's why I like this fight, because he real challenge, real opponent. A lot of people talk about he can beat me. This is how you become greatest fighter. You have to beat a lot of fighters when people talk about you gonna lose. This is make you like fighter, like big. That's why I love this challenge, you know. I hope we're gonna fight.
Are you focused on the idea of retiring as the greatest fighter of all time with an unbeaten record? Is that a goal and a focus right now?
You know, like talk about like, oh, I'm the greatest of all time. I don't know. We have John Jones, Fedor, we have Demetrius Johnson, we have Henry Cejudo, we have DC, Anderson Silva. It's like Fedor, it's like a lot of guys, you know. One of the best, maybe, but I don't want to talk about I'm the greatest of all time. Honestly, like one of the best.
All right, to close here, we can't wait. Send me a location. It's Barclays in Brooklyn on April 18th. Give me one word to describe what this fight with Tony Ferguson is going to look like.
It's going to look like I'm focused on finish. I'm going to finish him, inshallah, 2nd or 3rd round.
There it is, Khabib Nurmagomedov, the Eagle. We'll be back. Great talking to you, brother.
I asked Dana White, I was kind of pushing him on it. I said, why would Conor McGregor get a shot over Justin Gaethje and what Justin Gaethje did? And he said something along the lines of Justin Gaethje knows what he did. Do you have any clue what he's talking about?
No, Dana White knows it's because of politics and money. You know, we all know that. It's not a lie, or it's not a secret. No, I don't know what that means. I've spoke on this. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. Just like I knew what he was talking about as much, or the same as I knew I was supposed to fight Conor. I was lined up. You know, they said they offered me that you put it in the, you know, he puts it in the media. They never fucking called me. They never said a word to me. That's all bullshit. You know, so he's the cash cow. We all need him. I need him. You need him. Dana needs him. But yeah, if you're gonna take food off my table, then I'm gonna go to fucking war with you. You know, I want to stay in my destiny, and I'm not gonna allow politics to take that from me. You can't lose how you lose to me. He can't. If he loses how you lose to me, he can never be Conor McGregor again. He can never say the things that Conor McGregor says. You can get tapped out. You know, he can get submitted 2 more times in there and still talk like Conor McGregor. But to lose, to me, there's only one way to lose. And yeah, someone's got to die, me or you. And that's not, you know, it's metaphorically, you know. Not, but yeah, yeah. I I mean, it's fucking crazy what I'm dealing with, but I have to stay here and just be ready.